Not a single one of us here exactly fits a pattern of what the rest of the world might say is normal. A lot of us are pretty bold about it. A lot of us are, you might say, outlaws. Believe it or not, we have the political director of the most appropriately named Feminist Outlawz with us, Ms. Juliana Illari.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, activists, community organizers, in a good way, elected officials, friends, and those of you who are all of those things. To Tracy and the organizing committee, thank you for inviting me to speak. I'm deeply honored to be here. I'm not a great public speaker, so please forgive me. This is one of the very few times you will ever see me in front of a crowd this big. However, I put aside my nervousness, self-consciousness, to share with you my experience this year in service to seeing that we achieve full equality under the law and to educate the greater community about us, our lives, and how to lobby for those changes. This spring, I had the distinct pleasure to lobby with 5 members of the Georgia trans community, 2 who are here this evening. You would stand up and come on, get my back like you did on the Hill. We were there to press for passage of the hate crimes bill and the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. Our delegation was organized by the National Center for Transgender Equality, along with several hundred citizen lobbyists from all around the country. We had meetings with congressional staff, senatorial staff, and in some cases, the Congress member themselves. Over the course of those couple days, I listened and watched how people who did not claim to be an activist before found their voice and told truth to power. No one can tell your story better than you can. As we will be a witness to this very evening, trans people are subject to unconscionable levels of bias-motivated violence. Elected officials, their staff, and our community need to hear these stories. The hate crimes bill is important for so many reasons, not the least of which mandates federal intervention if the local law enforcement is unable or unwilling to investigate. Within days of us being there, the hate crimes bill moved out of committee, and yes, it was because of the 5 of us. And it went on to pass on October 28th. This took a decade of all of us fighting. The bill is important, but it is the tip of the iceberg of many laws that we need citizen activists to engage with their elected officials on, whether it's local ordinances, state law, or federal law. To some of you, it seems daunting to venture out of safe spaces. The very idea of storming the Hill probably isn't on your list of things to do today. Likely there are people here tonight who thought the same thing. But let me tell you about my friend Giselle. All protestations of inexperience and shyness to the contrary, she showed us, been there, done that crowd, a thing or two how to engage a congressional staffer, a very hostile congressional staffer. She followed up with them in a professional way, took the situation, turned it around in her favor, and it was a sight to behold. A couple months later, we were marching side by side in D.C. on a beautiful day up to the Capitol, and I teased her she had come a long way, baby. Each time I come to this event, I am hopeful that those of you attending for the first time will be inspired by someone's story and will get engaged. Your community needs you. And one follow-up thing, to follow up on those who have said you need to be at the table. Well, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.